Hello, so today we'll be debating about whether the wide usage of Konglish is whether beneficial or harmful to the Korean society. Konglish can be defined as 5 ways roughly. First, direct loanwords with modified pronunciation such as hamburger and hamburger. Second, hybrid terms where phrases incorporate words from both English and Korean, for example, 비닐봉투 and plastic bag. Third, truncated terminology formed from the shortening of English terms such as self-camera and self-ka. Fourth, substitution. English terms replacing Korean lexis, for example, using the term parking instead of the original Korean term 주차. And lastly, creation of pseudo-loanwords possessing semantic modification. And for the example, eye shopping and window shopping. Now that we're clear on the definition of Konglish, let me introduce you our two debaters, Jaemin and Minjae. So let's start our debate by asking this first question. How does Konglish play a role in globalization? Jaemin?
So I'll be arguing for the pros of the usage of Konglish. And please refer me to Elvis rather than Jaemin, please. And our first argument will be that being exposed to Konglish helps people in learning English, which is a necessary tool for a developing society. Being able to conduct businesses in English and reaching out as a globalized society. And basically English is deemed as a higher status over Korean because it's a globalized language. And Korea being one of the poorest countries post-war period, currently it's at the 13th largest economy in the world. And basically we can conclude that Korea is known for the IT industry. And within the IT industry, we use multiple English terms. And in order to learn those words, Konglish is very, very helpful.
Let's hear from Minjae.
I disagree with you. And by the way, I'm Minjae. I use my Korean name. I'm not a sellout like him. I don't need an English name. Well, first, I think that Konglish in many cases is a misappropriation of English and said English loanwords, so I don't think they really help in English learning that much. Well, first of all, sometimes the meaning is different, and second of all, the pronunciation can be totally off. So try to communicate with foreigners with these words and see if they can understand what you're trying to say. For example, try to go to America, right, and then ask for a pair of panties. What do you think you're going to get as a man? Right? Try to go to America, try to buy a new phone, be like, I need a hand phone. What do you think they're going to give you? A cell phone? They won't know what the hell you're talking about. Try to go to America, right, and say that you want to meet a girl through a meeting. They're not going to get what you're trying to say. Alright, so I think in a lot of cases, in the Konglish is just a misappropriation of English that doesn't help with the acquisition of the English language, which would help Korea with globalization, as you say.
Okay, let's move on to our second argument here. What are we going to do about the English words that do not exist in the Korean language? Starting with Minjae?
Well, I think we can simply look to our neighbors to the north who have done a really good job coining words using existing Korean lexicon. For example, ice cream, right, and hamburger. How do you know how to say those in North Korea? 문화?
얼음과자 and 고기 격반.
There you go. This is how you protect 우리 아름다운 말.
Yeah, however, there are such terms as, for example, within the IT industry, hardware, software, drive. How are you going to coin new terms for those words? And going back to my previous argument, learning those words have basically developed Korea's economy into now known as the 13th largest economy in the world. How are you going to coin new terms for those such words?
Okay, I agree maybe that not all Konglish and English loanwords are created equal. So for some, these technological terms, it could be acceptable. But then how do you explain the fact that we replace words that already exist in the Korean lexicon with these foreign fabrications? Huh?
Like,
do you think I'm exaggerating right now?
너무 오버하지 마세요.
What is that? What did you... 오버하지 말라고? What's over? He could have said 과장하지 마세요, but look, he's using these terms. We already have these terms in Korean. Why do you need to use the loan word, the Konglish? Other examples would be, quality. What's quality?
Quality.
Yeah, but we have a term for that in Korean. We have a term for messaging. We have a term for system. We have a term for so many words. Yet we are using these foreign fabrications, which in my opinion, is a total disgrace.
Now moving on to our last point here. Is Konglish an evolution or de-evolution of the Korean language? How does it play a role in the language nationalism?
Devolution.
I personally think it's an evolution. Well, language is always changing throughout time. Agree? For example, we consider it as a living thing. We can consider Creole or Pidgin as a perfect example. Those two languages were never existing. They did not exist prior to foreign influences and contact. Basically, the changing of Korean through Konglish, we can see it as a progressive change because it's through a creative process. We can never consider a creative process as a regressive form of ideas.
I do agree that there are, some Konglish that is the result of a quite creative process, which is interesting. But why do we have to do that with foreign words and not our own words? Right? Look at North Korea. They're being very creative, but not with foreign words. They're using native Korean words. And so I think that in order to avoid our culture becoming westernized beyond a point of no return, right? Like you said, this English, is a show of status and of modernity and everything. Why can't Korean be a show of status and modernity? Let's be proud of our language. We lack pride in our language.
Yeah, but let's consider how many places around the world know Korean. Like instead,
we can make it known.
Yeah, but let's be realistic. English is already considered the global language, right? Why do we want to take time?
But then you can learn how to
that?
speak English properly. But then when you speak in Korean, you speak in Korean. When you speak in English, you speak in English.
But we want to further.
Right? So when a language comes into contact with another language, not only are words transmitted unilaterally or bilaterally, cultures as well are transmitted. And what I'm saying now is that we're reaching soon a point of no return where Korea is going to lose some of its essence of Koreanness.
And that's good.
Thank you to Jaemin and Minjae
I like to be called Elvis.
for sharing their opinions on Konglish. I have a question for the audience. What do you think are the effects of Konglish on the Korean language?